Hello, I'm Nola, and I'd love to welcome you back to my channel. If this is your first time, welcome. I hope you'll stay a while. For my regular subscribers, thank you so very much for your continued love and support. And for my new subscribers, of which there are quite a few of you, thank you and welcome. I so appreciate you. So today is Saturday, October the 18th, and we are way into fall here in the Netherlands, where I'm currently living. I don't know how long I will be staying here, but this is my home temporarily. And on Monday morning, I was driving to work. It was really misty, or foggy, as some may call it. And I drive by a lot of farmlands where I often see the most beautiful cows and sheep grazing in the fields, and now I think they have put in some vegetables of some kind, so the fields are a little green, even though the farmers have already harvested a lot of stuff. I live in the north of the Netherlands, in Holland proper, so this is the area where they grow a lot of the tulips and the flowers and so on. And so now I think that the farmers have already harvested a lot of stuff, and I've seen the harvesting of hay as they get ready for the winter, but there are still some green fields. And I'm saying all of that to say this, that on Monday morning when I was driving to work, there in this green field in the mist was this beautiful black cat. And I used to have the love of a black cat. Well, I didn't have a cat. A couple of cats have had me. We had two cats, Mozart and Owen. And Mozart, Mo, as we called him, was the black cat. And I've had an experience with Mo last December that I'll speak about one of these days. But on Monday morning, out of nowhere, just sitting in the mist, oh my gosh, was this black cat. And for a moment, I thought of Mo. And I had the strange feeling that life was tapping me on my shoulder. And maybe it meant nothing, but then maybe it meant everything, because emotionally, immediately I got quite emotional and I missed my old life with my late husband, my late cats and my dogs and stuff. And it reminded me of how the smallest things can open a door in one's mind. How a single sight or smell can make us start asking the big questions again. Later that day, I was at work and I was basically on my knees. One of the patients had had an accident and I couldn't wait for anyone else to come along. So I was scrubbing down or wiping down a wall in this man's room. The baseboards, the pull cords, the parts that nobody ever looks at. And some of my fellow nursing friends stopped at the door and they couldn't quite believe what I was doing. But sometimes when you're a caregiver, you start at the sponge and a wall, and before you know it, you are thinking about the meaning of life. I see people whose minds are fading, those dastardly diseases of Alzheimer's and dementia. And it always makes me wonder what all of this living is for. We spend our lives building a name, a family, a home, a career, maybe a little savings, and then one day your mind just slips away and we can't even remember our own stories. My mom had dementia and then ultimately Alzheimer's disease, so I know this quite intimately. But it's also very difficult to witness that every day. But maybe the witnessing itself teaches something. Maybe it forces us to look at our own lives with more honesty. Because when we were young, we were told that if we just followed the rules, study hard, work hard, be respectable, keep your voice polite. Life would reward us. We'd have comfort, stability, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of happiness thrown in for good measure. Yet many of us did all of that and still found ourselves wondering, is this all there is? Right? We found ourselves wondering if this is all that there is. And when I see people suffering, because I've been a caregiver for a long time, and terrible things happen to good people, and life is not fair. And so I've always had a mind where I question a lot of things. And I've always been extremely sensitive to energy and the energy of other souls. And then we look around and we see the sparkle, the pictures of perfect houses, perfect couples, champagne glasses clinking on some bright terrace, and we think we've missed something. But the truth is, life's rhythm was never meant to be fireworks all the time. It's more like breathing, a rise and fall, effort and rest, excitement and quiet. And that's why we love books and movies so much. I love books. I don't know about you. And I like good, gentle movies, no violence, no shoot-ups and stuff. I just love gentle movies. One of my favorite movies is Miss Potter by Beatrix Potter. It's the story of Beatrix Potter. I love movies like that. And so they let us live in Never Never Land for 2 hours perhaps, where everyone is beautiful and everything is resolved by that final scene. And that's fine. We all need to escape sometimes. But the danger is when we start comparing our laundry folding, our bill paying, our dinner cooking selves to those stories, and we call our real lives boring. But here's the truth, beloved. The mundane is where life actually happens. Yes, it happens in the mundane. It's not punishment, it's a rhythm. The smell of food on the stove, the dog snoring in the corner, the simple act of getting through another day. That's the heartbeat of existence. And then there's love and marriage and all the expectations that come with them. We often fall in love under fireworks, but forget that fireworks burn out after about 30 seconds. If you've ever had one of those sparklers or set off a firecracker or something like that. Real love begins when the sparks settle and there's laundry to do. Unless there's harm or abuse, most relationships don't end because of catastrophe. They end because people forget who they married. They stop noticing the small mercies. We think our needs aren't being met, but sometimes it's not needs. It's nostalgia for the first thrill. And sure, the thrill is lovely, believe me. But we can only swing from the chandeliers for so long. Eventually, we have to come down to reality, pay the bills, keep a roof over our heads, cook meals, put those shoes on our feet, and perhaps pay for dental work for our kids, right? See the orthodontist. That's got to come from somewhere. That's not failure. That's life finding its balance again. And then there are the curveballs. The in-laws who never quite accepted us. Maybe they thought their child married beneath them. Maybe they just didn't understand our culture, our faith, or the color of our skin. It hurts, especially when we've done nothing but love with an honest heart. But that's part of real life too. Some people will never see us clearly, and we still have to walk with grace. I've been thinking about loneliness as well. When I was a young nurse working in nursing homes, I used to look at the residents whose families never came and think, how could anyone abandon them? But as I got older, lived through some storms of my own, I began to see that every story has two sides, or possibly three, right? Some people are alone because life turned cruel. Some are alone because they lived only for themselves. And sometimes we can't tell which is which. So maybe the lesson is to stop breaking our heads over the whys or trying to judge what could have happened and simply have compassion for them and for ourselves. Because there are also parents who did everything right. They gave, they loved, they sacrificed, and still their children drifted away, feeling entitled or nursing private grievances that may never be spoken. Those parents sit in silence, wondering what they did wrong, when sometimes there was nothing wrong at all. Life can be that unfair. Life can be that cruel. And as a caregiver, I see both sides every day. The people who are paying the price for selfish choices, and the people who loved well and are still alone. It reminds me that kindness and responsibility are never wasted, even when the reward doesn't come in the way we had hoped. Maybe that's why, you know that old song, lavender is blue, dilly dilly, lavender is green. When I am king, dilly dilly, you will be queen. It sounds simple, almost childlike, but hidden inside is balance. If lavender is blue, it will most certainly also be green. So, if one gives, the other receives. There's harmony there, the kind of harmony that we often forget to look for. And I'm a December baby. I'm a Capricorn girl. And as my birthday approaches, I know it's still several months ago, it's not tomorrow, but it's close enough to start the annual inventory. Do you do that too? See where you were last year this time and how you have improved things, or maybe regressed, or you aren't where you thought you should be. And I find myself thinking as I do my annual inventory, I think about the would haves, could haves, and should haves, and that's a dangerous spiral to go down, because we must remember that we did the best that we had at the time. We did the best that we could at the time with what we had. And then I laugh, because every one of us has those thoughts, right? We all thought life would be bigger, shinier, easier somehow. And maybe the goal isn't to shine, it's to stay, to keep showing up, to keep loving, to keep the lavender alive, even when the seasons change. So perhaps the purpose of life isn't perfection, it's participation. Maybe our job, your job and my job, is to keep tending the small things, the meals shared, the dog walked, the friend remembered, the forgiveness offered even when it isn't returned. That's the sacred ordinary. That's what lasts when the chandeliers are no longer shining so brightly, because in the end, we can only have a lot of shine seasonally. You know, we have 4 seasons in every year, and we all go through seasons in our lives. And then we come back to the ground, to the rhythm of living, bills to pay, meals to cook, people to love. And in that rhythm, there's a quiet grace. So tonight, or this evening, as I think about the black cat, the clean wall, the people who remember and the ones who forget, I feel strangely at peace. Life may never make perfect sense, but it's worth polishing. And we can tell ourselves at the end of it all, lavender is blue dilly dilly, lavender is green. When one of us gives, another receives. And that, my friends, that is the real rhythm of life. So I hope you enjoyed this reflection with me, and it helped you to see some of the things that you have accomplished with your life, and not to measure yourself against anyone else. All of those fabulous pictures, those are moments in time, just like everything in our lives are moments in time. But which moments are you going to remain present for? It's easy to become bored with the daily grind, as we call it. But there is something to be said about the real rhythm of life, because you don't judge yourself based upon somebody else. You judge yourself from where you have come from to where you are. And that's where we may find that inner peace, because nobody has walked a mile in your shoes. Don't allow anyone to judge you. Yes, it's easy to judge and to say, she could have done that or he could have done that, but we never know, right? So until the next time, be kind, my darlings. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to the people that you meet, because everyone is dealing with something that none of us know anything about. Until the next time, take care of yourself. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate you more than I can tell you. I've got 91 subscribers. Who would have thunk that? Not me. Not the girl with the speech impediment, painfully shy. Wow, when I look at where I've come from to where I am, there have been lots of valley moments, deep in the valley, and some really wonderful mountaintops. But that's life, my friends. Please like, subscribe, and share this message with anyone you think might need it. Liking and subscribing helps the algorithm to push videos such as this one out to people that may need friends like you and I. Until the next time, take care and bye for now.